AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride! Woo!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Every Monday, we chat with David Dellucci, SEC Network, recap the weekend that was in the Southeastern Conference. Luch is with us now. Yo, man, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Let's not start with LSU. I'll just ask you, what do you think was the most surprising result of the weekend? Because there's a few to choose from.
Oh, surprising. I think there was a few. I'm going to guess A&M losing the series to Ole Miss was probably surprising to me because they had just been playing so good. Hunter Elliott had a really good weekend this weekend, coming off of 2 subpar outings back-to-back weekends. So I would go with that. I think the injury bug has hit the Aggies, so curious to see is where they're going to be over the next couple weeks. But probably the Rebs have played their way into a serious host conversation.
Tennessee upsetting Texas. Mississippi State losing a home series to Auburn also, I guess, could have qualified. Vanderbilt, Luch, playing for its tournament lives, loses a series to Missouri. I mean,
that they did.
Is that which of those do you think is the most consequential? Like for the teams who are trying to either get in or to host, which series do you think had the most significance or impact?
Well, if you want to talk about the history of the NCAA tournament, I think Vanderbilt stands out. They were going, for their 20th consecutive appearance. That's big, man. That's really big. Texas and Tennessee, the thing about Tennessee is probably over the last 3 series, their offense has really been heating up, and they just exploded. I mean, they took total control over Texas. Texas squeaked a win out of there in Game 3. Their offense woke up. But the way that Tennessee started, Tegan Kuhn's in Game 1 had 15 strikeouts, and the Tennessee lineup just overwhelmed Dylan Valantis, who's been lights out all year long. Auburn, Mississippi State, the way Auburn has, that's their 6th consecutive series victory. So you could say, I didn't see that one coming, but really and truly, I think we all should have seen that coming because the way Auburn's been playing so well. They've got 8 guys that are hitting over 300 in the lineup. Their pitching staff leads the nation in fewest walks per 9 innings. In SEC, their batting average is 3rd in the conference. ERA is 1st in the conference. Fielding percentage is 1st in the conference. So when you do a deep dive on the Auburn Tigers, you realize how good they are. But all of those series, they have consequences, and it's going to be brought in front of the committee, and you're going to have those are all bubble series right there, and you're going to have to make some tough decisions off of that.
Yeah. David Dellucci is with us. I don't think it was a tough decision at all with Georgia. They're 21-6. They've won the league already with another weekend to go. Luch, we all got a firsthand look this past weekend. Man, they're mighty impressive. If there's a flaw that prevents Georgia from winning a national title this year? What is it?
Inconsistent bullpen. They have relied really heavily on probably two guys coming out of the bullpen, and what's covered the Bulldogs for most of the season is the fact that they can drop 10 runs on anybody in the country. Yeah. Starting pitching has come a long ways from opening weekend, but once they open that bullpen door, they just don't know what they're going to get in return. And as you move forward in regionals and super regionals, and if they make it to Omaha, they're going to get deeper and deeper offenses on the other side that may knock a starting pitcher out in the third inning or early in the ball game, and they're going to have to go to that bullpen. And really, I mean, you saw Caden Aoki start game 3. That guy, I mean, his breaking pitch was filthy, but he's been kind of the swing guy. And once you get, when you talk about depth, and everybody's going to need depth, you saw what LSU has had to do in the past. Somebody typically steps up in Omaha. I just don't know if there's a bullpen piece that has that ability for Georgia.
And they slug their way through it, I think will be a really interesting question. But you're right, man. That offense is, they are elite. David Dellucci is with us, SEC Network. So the other side of that sweep, of course, was LSU. I mean, Luch, they're cooked at this point. They'd have to win the SEC tournament. I don't think anybody thinks that that's realistic to go win 6 games in as many days. So if I asked you in totality, you look at LSU and you're sort of doing the postmortem, albeit there's still baseball to play, but let's be real. What do you say about this LSU baseball team?
I say that it solidifies the trend that how difficult it is if you make a long national championship run and win it all. And we saw it with Mississippi State. We saw it with Ole Miss. Tennessee kind of bounced back a little quicker than other teams. But once again, LSU has followed the trend. It is so difficult for a coach to concentrate on the ultimate goal of winning a national championship while the transfer portal is up and everybody is grabbing every piece out of the transfer portal. I thought Jay Johnson did a great job in the transfer portal, but you'll never know until they step foot on campus and enter into an SEC conference game. And I think it shows how difficult it is to make the transition. Doesn't matter what school you went to. The SEC is just different. It's different in every single sport. So you can't expect a guy to come from the Big 12 or from the ACC and make that transition. We saw it this year. Now, what Jay's going through right now, he's letting these young players go out there, these top prospects. They're getting their feet wet. They're getting established early on. So LSU will be better for it next year. And actually, they'll be better for it in the SEC tournament because I think their best ball has been played over the last couple of weeks. Disregard what happened this weekend. That was a buzzsaw. But you've got some young players that are playing really good, and LSU plays well in Hoover, and we'll see how far they can go.
How do you think LSU matches up against Florida in Baton Rouge this weekend?
It's going to be tough. This pitching staff is really good, but they're like Tennessee. They're hit or miss. Just when you cash in on the Gators, they show you something completely different. It's a very talented team. A very good starting rotation. They got this young guy, and Florida always pulls a guy out of nowhere toward the end. This Caden McDonald is the collegiate version of Shohei Ohtani. He's been pitching. He's been hitting the ball out of the ballpark just this series. I think he went 4 for 5 with a home run and pitched 4 1/3 innings to get the win in the same game with 6 strikeouts. So a very rare talent that's kind of been sitting on the bench for 3/4 of the year. And Sully was forced to put him in a DH role, and here he is as a two-way player right now, getting a bunch of attention.
Luch, who's got the most on the line this weekend in the SEC?
I would say A&M and State are the two teams that are really playing for postseason spot, and most likely the pressure is on Mississippi State because Starkville depends on the postseason, and not just the fan base, but restaurants and hotels, and 29,000 residents in Starkville live for postseason baseball, and it's a Mississippi State team that really, as of late, has kind of cooled off. There's a bunch of pieces there. There's a bunch of talented guys there, but they need to kind of pick it up if they want the committee to send a host opportunity to Starkville.
Big weekend ahead as the SEC 30-game marathon will wrap up on Saturday for all 16 teams. We'll see how it goes. David Dellucci, SEC Network. Of course, catch him every Sunday on Rally Cap. Make sure you do that. And here with us Mondays talking about the weekend that was. Luch, we always appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, man. Be well. It's After Further Review. Brought about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Graduation time is here. Maybe you have a graduate in your life. They did it. Late night studying, early morning classes, all the way to the moment they walk across that stage. You can celebrate everything it took to get there with a gift that will last a lifetime from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. The perfect gift for every graduate. Doesn't matter if it's high school, college. Things like timeless pearls, elegant watches, classic diamond jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry has it. A meaningful piece that they will carry with them into the next chapter. It's all waiting inside that little red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. So visit Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Shreveport, New Orleans, or online anytime, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, glad you're hanging out with us here, y'all. Good show on this Monday. Remember, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org. We did recap LSU being swept this weekend at Georgia as we opened the show. Ross Jackson was here as well, recapping Saints rookie minicamp. When we come back, I do want to let you hear a little bit from Kellen Moore, who spoke to reporters after Saints rookie minicamp, some of those takeaways. And yesterday, May 10th, was 1 year to the day since Derek Carr retired. How fundamentally has this organization changed in those 366 days? We'll dive into that as we continue. We're glad you're here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows.
After Further Review.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. 2 ways you can get in touch. Website, getgordon.com, 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 or you can always give him a buzz. 888-8888. Just dial the 8s. 888-8888. Or go to getgordon.com. And I love telling you about Gordon all the time, not only because of the way they help injured people in our state, which is something that's been obviously the core of the business for 3 decades, but the many different ways Gordon gives back. We just got done promoting the laptop giveaway, all the many different ways that Gordon is philanthropic and gives back to so many charities and causes across the state of Louisiana. The NIL partnerships with the G team. Court to Table, beautiful location here in Baton Rouge, which has been awesome for our community. But if you've been injured, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Will's awesome. Derek's had to go through a lot just as you go through this process, and obviously making the decision ultimately to retire from the National Football League after 11-year career. I mean, as we've gone through this process, obviously this is how it kind of ultimately was settled. It was really good communication through the whole process as far as navigating this.
Think about the world a year ago when Kellen Moore made those comments. That was May the 12th of 2005. So a day ago, May the 10th, is when it was a Sunday when Derek Carr abruptly announced it was a Saturday. So it was yesterday was a year, May the 10th, which was a Saturday when Derek Carr very abruptly on that Saturday morning announced his retirement from football. When Kellen Moore took the Saints job, Derek Carr was the starting quarterback, and the Saints had restructured his contract, effectively tying them to him financially for 2 years. When Kellen Moore took the Saints job, he took the Saints job with the understanding that Derek Carr was his quarterback. And going into the draft last year, remember, we didn't know if Derek Carr was retiring. at that point. Now, maybe the Saints did. Remember, Kellen Moore said that he never met Derek Carr. He'd been the head coach since February to the retirement in May. They never met. So it was a very odd thing, the way that it all unfolded. It begs the question, what did the Saints know? When did they know it? Is that maybe why they took Tyler Shuck in round 2? But, man, when you think about the fundamental shift in the organization over these 365 days with that Derek Carr decision, the New Orleans Saints right now, without having to go through this absurd amount of contract restructuring to get within cap compliance, still have nearly $7 million in cap space available. Now, there's $113 million in dead cap money for New Orleans this year. But, man, you look ahead to 2027 and how this is all going to shift for the Saints. They go from having $113 million in dead cap money in 2026 to, as it stands now, $0 in dead cap money for 2027. Now, it's all going to change, of course, as guys retire and there's trades. It'll happen. But as of right now, the Saints have $54 million in cap space for 2027. They got $30 million back after Carr's retirement. They drafted Tyler Shuck and appear to have hit on that draft pick. They went into free agency and were very responsible in the way that they went and approached free agency this year. They didn't necessarily overspend on a big ticket item. They went and fortified the interior of their offensive line to protect their young quarterback. They went into the draft, used all 8 draft picks, or they used 8 draft picks. They did trade, obviously, for Tyree Wilson, but got a pick back as well in that, the 7th rounder. So they used 8 draft picks. They drafted 3 receivers for the first time since 1989. Back-to-back years now, they have not made a trade in the draft. It's so interesting to see how they're approaching it. It's a team that's approaching building the organization, building the roster around a young quarterback, ground up, responsibly, brick by brick, as opposed to what they were doing for half a decade in the final years of the Breeze era, which, again, I was totally on board with how they approached the end of the Breeze era. They were trying to win another Super Bowl. They were in win-now mode, and that was fine. You had Drew Brees. For as long as you had him, you had a shot. So go all in, and they did. They just didn't get over the hump. They had some of the most miserable playoff losses literally in NFL history. I mean, they're named the Minneapolis Miracle, the Nola No Call. Like, they have freaking names for the way they lost. It doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. It just didn't work. The wrong decision was continuing to be all in behind Derek Carr. That's whenever I disagreed with the Saints' approach. Now, Carr's injury, subsequent retirement, forced the Saints into their rebuild, and thankfully, they are approaching that rebuild responsibly. And hopefully, Kellen Moore as a head coach continues to grow into his own. And Tyler Shuck, the small sample we saw a year ago, the 9 games he started, when you're able to expand that to 17 games, we continue to see growth and progress from Shuck. That leads us to believe the Saints can be a contender with Tyler Shuck and Kellen Moore, maybe the new iteration of Peyton Breeze. I'm not saying they're both going to go to the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying that can maybe be your new quarterback-coach combo that leads the Saints back to relevance, which they haven't been for a half-decade now, but now seemingly could be, thanks to what happened a year ago yesterday, Derek Carr abruptly retiring from the NFL. All right, it's after further review. Kellen Moore, speaking of which, did meet with reporters to recap rookie minicamp over the weekend. I'll get to that in just a second. Let me remind you about Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Saturday, the weather was awful. I mean, there was reports of hail over much of South Louisiana, high winds, heavy rain, flooding. If you had roof damage, literally just got a text a bit ago here on the show from Chad, who's in Belle Chase. He texted me and said, Matt, does Parish come to Belle Chase? Yes, we do. We have our New Orleans office. We serve all of greater New Orleans. For our Baton Rouge office, we have our Austin, Texas office open now as well. So for all of our Texas Tigers, remember, do business with someone you know. Would love it if you'd give Parrish the opportunity to earn your business. We were voted by you the best roofing company in the best of Baton Rouge for 2026. They're from The Advocate. So thank you for that recognition. But most importantly, even if it's not us, call a local, licensed, reputable roofing company. Ignore the door knockers, the out-of-towners, the companies that just pop up and try to prey on people after a storm. Trust a reputable local contractor. We'd love it if you give us the opportunity to earn your business. Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com. ParrishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com. So Kellen Moore met with reporters after Saints rookie minicamp. He did recap. This was after day 2 of minicamp.
Second day of rookie camp. Good work. Another very similar day as you guys saw. Had a few guys not out there, but that's just, building maintenance plans for these guys and building these guys programs to get them ready to go for football perspective. So that's just part of this process of getting to know these guys, getting them into our system and building these guys plans just so, hey, they are ready to go, particularly, for training camp and all that sort of stuff, but just start building these guys up the right way for OTAs and all that fun stuff.
It's light work. First of all, Kellen Moore, if you remember from last year, just does not practice hard, if you remember that from camp. The Saints had one of the lightest training camps any of us have ever seen. A lot of the veterans last year, DeMario, Cam, Alvin, were all talking about how light a training camp was. Keep you fresh, ready to go, healthy, fresh legs. Many different ways to skin a cat. The results will be what they are. So in rookie minicamp, they weren't going to go hard. They did about an hour of work each of the 2 days, just there in helmets. There's no contact or anything like that. But an acclimation for those young guys before they hit OTAs coming up here in a couple of weeks. Now, Jordan Tyson was the conversation piece because the first-round pick, who we all know the injury history, was there doing on-field work Friday, then was absent on Saturday. Kellen Moore was quick to point out that was planned. He's not injured. It's just taking it easy on him in the reps. He's coming off the hamstring injury, so they're sort of ramping him up. Moore was asked if Jordan Tyson will be full go by training camp.
Yeah, again, every guy's going to be on different planes here. Again, we focus on, building these guys up the right way through this whole offseason program. When you get to the veterans will be here, again, you guys will see phase 3. There'll be veterans in similar plans where, they may be limited to certain exposures. Again, we're building these guys up so that the whole goal is OTAs is just a continuous build up, and then when they leave this place, they just keep going on their own for a few weeks, and then training camp, we just keep going. And so different than, OTAs and take this long break and go back to ground zero or first level, let's just keep building. And so that's the goal for all these guys.
I think what's most important there, you don't need to hear about ground zero and building all that. The point is they got a plan. And obviously you're going to be responsible with your rookie receiver 8th overall pick, and you're not going to risk anything at rookie minicamp. But, he's talking about the dates ahead. Remember, the OTAs, which are the voluntary parts of the offseason workout before you get to the mandatory minicamps. OTAs are coming up here in about 2 weeks, and you have several OTA dates that go throughout the end of May and into early June before you hit the mandatory minicamp in mid-June. And then, obviously, as you mentioned, they'll break until they start training camp at the end of July, beginning of August. We'll see what those dates will be. One more that I thought was interesting. It's really hard whenever you're at a minicamp like this where there's no contact to look at the linemen. But Jeremiah Wright is a guy who drew rave reviews. We've had a lot of conversations about him. He's the rookie out of Auburn, 4th-round pick. And the hope is that maybe he's the heir apparent to Cesar Ruiz at right guard. Might even be able to beat him out this year, hopefully. Here was Kellen Moore with his first observations of the rookie offensive lineman out of Auburn.
Strong guy. Obviously, we saw what he progressed through, coming from Auburn, his exposure there, playing both sides of the football and all that sort of stuff. These are challenging exposures. So, again, most of it's going to be individual work with the offensive line coaches, working through the individual techniques, and then some of the communication stuff, which is huge. And so, good first impression.
That's one that we're going to keep an eye on. You got 8 draft picks out there, the undrafted free agents, the tryout players as well. But those draft picks, when you look at who can make an immediate impact for New Orleans, obviously Jordan Tyson's on the list. Barian Brown turned a lot of heads, not just as a returner, but as a receiver. But Wright being not only someone who might be able to push Cesar Ruiz at right guard, but be that maybe that 6th lineman, that swing guy on the interior is important. I mean, we talked about Will Clapp a bit ago. Remember, that was going to be Will Clapp's role a year ago as the backup center, but a swing interior offensive lineman. You got to have depth. If you're going to keep 7 or 8 offensive linemen active, then you got to have your 5 starters, usually a swing guy that can play tackle and one that can play on the interior. Maybe that's Jeremiah Wright. We'll see. Remember, Landon Young was that guy. Well, Landon Young's no longer with the Saints. You'd hope Nick Saldiveri could be that guy, former 4th-round pick. Injuries and other factors, hasn't been that guy. Maybe now it's Jeremiah Wright's turn. He's going to be an interesting to watch here throughout the offseason work and into training camp. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Friday shows are brought to you by Monday shows. It ain't Friday. I wish it was Friday. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. But their number one product is always customer satisfaction. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, let me knock out a break. We'll come back. We'll continue. Jimmy will be here in 15 minutes for Auto-Locks. A lot of reaction as well as most spring football is done. The Lane Kiffin piece over at Vanity Fair is getting a ton of reaction today, as you might expect. But also a lot of conversation about what programs coming out of spring really could have used a spring portal window. There's a lot of connective tissue with LSU here. We'll talk about that a bit as we continue on AFR.
After further review.
All right, Mother's Day is in the rearview mirror, and I'm going to be very honest with you. One of our Mother's Day traditions since Eric and I have been married and since Drew came along is that on the Saturday before Mother's Day, we always go to Clegg's Nursery, and we buy a whole mess of flowers for our flower beds and patio pots in our outdoor space by the pool and all that stuff. And then I have to help Erica plant them, and I can't complain. That's one of our Mother's Day traditions. Well, Saturday was a deluge. We needed Noah's Ark to get over to Clegg's on Saturday. So we didn't go Saturday. We'll do that this coming weekend. But what a great time. The fresh shipment of plants are coming in almost daily. Beautiful flowering plants that will brighten up the landscape. The patio pots around the pool, tell you about it all the time. Check out Diplodenias if you haven't ever shot for those before. Beautiful tropical flower. It just explodes with color. It's great for your outdoor space. But find your favorite mulch, soil, bag, bulk. They got it all. Check them out at Clegg's Nursery, any of the 4 locations. Buy local, shop local. Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And we do shutters too.
Greg Sankey, in an interview at the APSE Southeast Region meeting at the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame on Monday, stood firm on his belief that the college football playoff should move to a 16-team expansion instead of a 24-team expansion. Quote, that focus hasn't changed. We're open to the conversation, but there are a lot of ideas out there that have to be supported with analysis and information, not speculation. I think we talked to Ross Dellinger about this last week, and it's a very unusual position for Sankey to be in because the SEC commissioner, generally speaking, is, which Greg Sankey has been for a decade now, is the most powerful voice in college sports. And he's the commissioner of the biggest, wealthiest, most successful league and swings the biggest stick and all that sort of stuff. And generally, whatever Greg Sankey, or the SEC commissioner, in this case Greg Sankey, aligns with or stands behind, is going to be the way things go, just because there's so much influence that the SEC has. It's the biggest brands and the most revenue and all that stuff. Except it's kind of not anymore. The Big Ten's TV deal is bigger. They've won the last 3 football national titles. These are irrefutable pieces of evidence. And Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, is the one lobbying for the 24-team playoff. And last week, the AFCA, the American Football Coaches Association, endorsed the 24-team playoff. And you're hearing more and more coaches endorse a 24-team playoff as well. And like we've talked about, there's 2 reasons. It's revenue and it's access. Everyone needs more revenue, which we've talked about plenty. And a 24-team playoff will give you more games than a 16-team playoff. Hence, more TV revenue, More inventory, more revenue. And then the access is good for the coaches because, especially now, if you're going to a 9-game SEC schedule, you've guaranteed half of your league another loss. All these coaches got contracts. They need job security. Well, how do you do that? Playoff appearances. More access to the playoff. So it feels like Greg Sankey is going to lose here, which I'm certain is uncomfortable for him. Not something that in the decade that he's been the SEC commissioner that he's used to. But it sure feels like everybody's gathering on that hill to move to 24, and he's standing over there by himself waving that 16 flag. And it's like the Jerry Maguire, who's coming with me? It's just you and that fish, dog. Maybe Renee Zellweger will tag along too. That worked out pretty good. That's going to be a fascinating conversation that drives this offseason. You know, every year before you get to, you know, we talk all the time about how the NFL is a 12-month league, right? I mean, you have your season, which ends in February with the Super Bowl. Then you go into the Combine in February, and then you start moving into the NFL league year starts in March, so you have free agency, and then April is the draft, and then in May you have like the schedule release, and then you have OTAs, which start in May and June, and then you get to training camp and preseason, and then you get it. So it's a 12-month calendar. Now, there's something in the NFL every month of the year. For college football, you have longer layoff periods, but in this period, it's when the rule makers and the decision makers start to affect what the changes will be for the next season. As you have, you know, the spring meetings down in Destin for the SEC, and then all the leagues have their spring meetings, and then you have the oversight committee that's going to have some of these conversations. These are the types of things that are going to direct the college football conversations in the offseason. We'll talk obviously about the teams and all this stuff and projections, and you start with your list season and all your, you know, award watch lists and everything. But we'll dust off the feigned indignance drop about all the random summertime lists. But between now and media days, right, which is early mid-July, is when you're going to start, like, it'll be dominated by some conversation about rules and structure for college football. Like, oddly, I was talking about this with somebody today. The last time LSU baseball missed postseason altogether, 2011, that ended up being one of the craziest summers here locally. The Pelicans got the number 1 pick and drafted Anthony Davis. The NFL was going through its lockout, if you remember. And so, like, Drew Brees was organizing practices at Tulane and all that sort of stuff. Well, in college football, in that offseason, in that summer, is when you had the first major seismic realignment shift. It was when Texas and Oklahoma almost went to the Pac-12. Missouri and A&M came into the SEC. Nebraska and Rutgers went into the Big Ten. I mean, it was the first real seismic realignment summer. That just, all the rumors, that just dominated headlines that summer. So oddly now, we may see LSU baseball not make the postseason this year. And it may be where we see the most significant playoff structure realignment to date, if in fact we do see it jump to a 24-team college football playoff, which you know, that's what I endorse. I'm here for it. We'll talk much more about it as the summer and the offseason goes along. All right, we're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, with locations all over South Louisiana. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. Man, that rain on Saturday, if you were driving around, that puddles everywhere, slick roads. You want the safety and security of knowing your tires are gripping the road and keeping you safe? Well, go to Shaw Bills, because you can buy the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. Go to the website, ShawBillsTire.com. Hit the promotions tab at the top. You'll see all the dealer specials. They'll give you a really good insight into how they work so hard to get you the best tires at the cheapest price. They combine their in-house offer with the manufacturer's offer to get you the best price on the best tires. Name brand tires: Bridgestone, Firestone, BF Goodrich, Michelin, Toyo, the best tires on the road at the cheapest price. That's their guarantee. As a matter of fact, you buy tires at Shaw Bills, find those tires advertised cheaper somewhere else, they'll refund you 125% of the difference. That's part of the Charlie's Dozen, the price match guarantee. It's at Shaw Bills. Buy the best tires at the cheapest price, and they'll treat you like family. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills. We keep you rolling. There's a lot of reaction today, obviously, to the Lane Kiffin Vanity Fair piece. We spent a good 2 segments in hour number 2 rehashing that. My biggest takeaway, I think, from it is, while everyone's talking about the conversation of the comments that Lane Kiffin made about recruiting at Ole Miss and how there were some recruits who said, Coach, we like you, but my parents, grandparents won't let me come to Oxford, Mississippi. I think what's important, and this is going to be something that I know I'm pushing back. I'm not defending Lane Kiffin in the comments or anything like that, but I am defending being inaccurate. Mentions of Colonel Reb and the rebel flag, all of that was not part of Lane Kiffin's quote. Those were insinuations made by the author of the piece. And I will reach out to, his name's Christopher Smith. I would love to know the context of those comments. Meaning, did Christopher Smith ask Lane Kiffin about that? Did Lane Kiffin just volunteer? Was he asked, was it hard to recruit here? Was there a racial component here? Like, was Lane Kiffin asked that question, or did he just volunteer that in some other capacity? Like, that's context that was not given in the Vanity Fair piece that I think is really the central part of those comments. It needs to be explained. So hopefully we do get that explanation, or maybe this is just, lighten the dynamite stick, and the Ole Miss fans are going to go kaboom and blow their minds for a few days, and they'll move on after that. Well, I guess they'll never move on, but they'll move to a new conversation. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Thinking about selling your home? Call Darren James. Get your home sold. As a matter of fact, this weekend I was scrolling Instagram, and I saw a home that I liked. The address wasn't listed on it. However, I'm not in the market for a new home, but it was a nice home, and I was curious. I texted Darren the Instagram reel, and I said, can you find out about this property for me? A minute later, boom, he had the address, the listing, kicked me all the info, said, you want to go see it today? It's like, no, because I looked at the neighborhood it was in. We're not interested in moving there, but it was just an illustration of Darren's responsiveness. When you work with Darren James, you are working with someone who has incredible work ethic. I love Darren, says it all the time. Late to bed, early to rise, work like heck, and advertise. I mean, the guy has a system down pat, his people, his processes down pat to make sure that he's the most efficient. It's how he ends up at a closing table more than anyone else, and you're going to have an exceptional customer service experience with Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
In 2021, after Ida, there were 13 insurance carriers that went out of business. Insurance Network of Louisiana was not affected at all because they're careful who they partner with. For years, I've told you, call Insurance Network of Louisiana, get better coverage for less money. I want to remind you that this is true for your business as well. So if you're a business owner, you need to call Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm going to give you the number, or you can log on. They will shop to find you better coverage for your business for less money. It doesn't matter what type of business it is. Doctors, dentists, law offices, accountants, CPAs, financial advisors, mortgage lenders, professional offices, vets, hair salons, restaurants, architects, engineers, pharmacies, doesn't matter what type. You're interested in your bottom line? How about better coverage for less money? Let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop. 293-0450.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. Been a really good show. You miss anything, AFR On Demand is presented by Breck Golf, so book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
What's going on, Matthew? How you doing?
Doing awesome, man. Good weekend and a lot going on. A lot of sports on the television and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of sports to bet on.
Yeah. Let's get to it. First in the NBA doubleheader, Detroit and Cleveland. These games have been pretty close. The home team has covered the first three of Detroit winning and covering games 1 and 2, and had a 17-point. Detroit winning and covering games 1 and 2. Game 3, it was Cleveland built as much as a 17-point lead. Detroit comes back to take the lead. Then they go out to an 8-point lead. Detroit takes the lead. So, but then they made James Harden made some big shots down the stretch. So I don't know if he's going to be able to duplicate that just again. So we're going to take Detroit to try and get a commanding lead here. Take the points on the road here with the Pistons in the first game. You know, an old gambler taught me once that fear creates value. Well, that applies to this one, I guess, because I'm sure scared to take the Lakers in this matchup. Oklahoma City can name their score. But, you know, sell high, buy low. This is a buy low spot. We might be the only ones in the Lakers tonight. Double digits at home. Gentleman sweep situation. Just take it easy on us tonight, OKC. Win by 6, 8, whatever it is. We're going to take the Lakers in the scream for mercy. Baseball, we got 2 plays, a couple of slight dogs on the road. Tampa Bay, they now won 14 of 16. They won 2 of 3 in Boston this past weekend. They swept Toronto just last week at home. Same pitching matchup that we had last week with Rasmussen and Gosman. Until they show any signs of cooling off, we're going to have to just ride the streak with the Tampa Bay Rays, actually plus some money in that one. And then we're going to take Arizona at Texas. Texas did win 2 out of 3 this past weekend against the Cubbies, but still, we're going to take Mike Soroka, who was a former Brave, who had the Tommy John surgery, and it's taken him a couple of years to get back to form. He's pitching very well for the Diamondbacks. Like their lineup better than Texas right now. Texas, again, on paper, their lineup should be better until they start hitting the ball more. We're going to take them. They're an unbelievable under team at home, close to 70% unders at Texas. So they just don't score at home. We're going to take Arizona. So two MLB picks and 2 NBA picks.
Do we like under 8 as well in Diamondbacks Rangers?
If you want to throw it in there, yeah. So it's it's been an underrun for sure. That's Max's team. That's the Max Gotro angle on that one.
All right.
Yes.
Right.
And you know it has been hitting.
So on the hardwood, Pistons and the Lakers taking both dogs tonight, and then in Major League Baseball, the Rays and the Diamondbacks also a play there with the Diamondbacks and the Rangers under 8 runs scored. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are at Dozy Place on Government Street in Mid-City.
Steak for lunch sounds awesome.
They have we all usually go there for dinner with steaks. That's what they're known for. They start off with the tamales, the whole thing. Great steaks in a casual atmosphere. But their lunch menu is a bunch of sandwiches, burgers, chicken sandwiches, plate lunches that are not available on the dinner menu. So generous portions, to say the least, at Doze.
I'm glad you told me that because I got to call Scott anyway. I was at Clay Young's event a few weeks ago, and there was like a dinner for 6 or something at the live auction that I won. So I need to go like cash in on that, man. I need to go have dinner at those. So that's coming up soon for sure for the Scones.
Very good. Very good. Great place.
For tomorrow, no doubt, man. Thank you, Otter. We appreciate it.
All right, good luck.
All right, man. Same to you. It is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We got a little time. You know what? Giving you guys a little heads up. A little what we learned. We got time for it. So get your thoughts around you. Get your thoughts together, Paulie. You got time for what we learned. One thing that we got to test out here is Jordan Watch. So if you were not here in hour 1 when Ross Jackson was here, we were talking about Saints rookie minicamp and Jordan Tyson, who was there day 1, was not there day 2. We had someone via the text line bring up Jordan Watch, which, of course, we've done several times, like Seton Watch. You might recall. What was the other one? Did we do another one? Oh, Kiffin Watch.
I was about to say Kiffin Watch. We've done a bunch, though. Those are the two recent ones.
I like it. Jordan, which should probably also be like Tyson Watch.
That's what I was thinking, too, when I played it back.
Yeah, but it's all right. We can go Jordan. All right, let's hear it. Jordan Watch. It's such a statement.
I love it, though. I really do. It's so good.
On today's episode of Jordan Watch. The stupid pause.
Love it.
You need to get rid of that. Well, the pause is so inappropriately timed. Like, we don't need that pause. But it actually is funnier.
I think that's kind of what makes it work so well.
It's like a jump cut.
Yeah.
One more time. Jordan Watch. All right, and then we have one other. What was the other drop that we used last week? It was somebody's name we were doing.
Divine.
Oh yeah. Divine Ugochukwu. We're working them in, man.
We're working them in.
We got some new ones.
We're getting back to it, man.
We got some new ones to test drive here. All right.
We can only work with what they give us.
Don't waste my time, Hughes. Don't waste my time. We got to find out what you learned. Paulie, what'd you learn?
I learned that the UFL is interviewing refs in
How
game.
about it? That'll be Paulie. Good job. Muse, what'd you learn?
I learned that Barry and Brown's going to be the next Rashid Shaheed.
Ross did say that.
He
did.
He said it. What'd you learn, Matt?
David Dellucci talked some baseball stuff with us on the show. Jimmy's at Doze tomorrow. That's what I learned.
There we go.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Rouse's, official supermarket of the Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. It's a Rouse's. Hey, Mother's Day is behind us, but there's still great opportunities to get by. How about boiled crawfish? They still got over at Rouse's. And live Maine lobster. Oh, get by Rouse's, y'all. What are you waiting on? What a time of year to get by there as well. The floral department's great. Get those fresh, beautiful flowers, roses, bring them home. Surprise your honey. Pop into Rouse's, grab some flowers, beautiful flowers, surprise her tonight. Grab dinner as well. Say, sweetie, don't cook. I'm heading to Rouse's. They're at the deli. They got something for everyone, man. Sushi on Tuesday. Sushi every day, but $5 sushi Tuesdays. They got the hot and boiled kiosk with the crawfish, boiled shrimp as well. You want your fried seafood, they got it. Salad bar. Man, I love their Asian bowls as well. It's at Rouse's. Rouse's! This feels like home.